All right, guys. Today is 7/7/24. So July 7th, 2024, coming at you for our live stream for the next hour. Sorry, I'm a couple minutes late because I've been kind of running around this morning, but you know how it goes. But either way, guys, hopefully you're safe and sound. I'm One Eye Bry, also known as PT. Don't know if I'm winking or blinking, but I'm definitely thinking about the Walking Dead universe, other shows and movies that we've been watching or we watched recently on there too, So there's a lot of good shows that are out now or coming out and everything. And what are you excited for? Are you liking House of the Dragon season 2? Are you watching The Bear? Are you watching The Boys? Are you watching, I don't know, whatever. Let me know your thoughts. Post your comments below. Chat in the part to be involved. Thank you for being here. We truly appreciate all the support. There's not much news about the Walking Dead universe, but Daryl Dixon comes out in September, which every time I do a live stream, we're another week or so closer to September 29th is when it returns for us, which is the very end of September. It can't be any, that Sunday is the second to last day, and we're excited to see what happens with Daryl, Carol, the Book of Carol, Daryl Dixon, all that stuff. So I saw somewhere recently that Norman Reedus wants to play Daryl Dixon for like 6 to 7 years. I don't know if it's a new quote, an old quote, a real quote, and a fake one. But so are we really going to get 7 seasons potentially of Daryl Dixon? Do you want to see that? Are you excited for that? Is the Walking Dead universe still worth watching? I don't know. I mean, like after the Rick and Michonne show, I said it before and I'll say it again, or I ask it again. What is the future of it? Are you excited for the future of the Walking Dead universe? And what is the future, right? So we have Dead City, Season 2, filming still in Massachusetts. Negan, Maggie, all that stuff. And I believe they're around the end of the end of the season. So I think they're filming the second to last episode now, or right around there. And so we're getting there. We're getting close to the end of the first season or second season filming wise. And then it's post-production and all that stuff. And so say they take all of July, which they could, and then they should be done, I'm guessing. And then what do they do with it? Are they going to go into filming season 3? Are we going to get a season 3? Do you want to see a season 3? I don't know, because I just want stuff to be interesting. Like if we're just going through the motions, you have to like Negan, I'm guessing, to like Dead City. You have to like Daryl to like the Daryl Dixon show. But now Daryl and Carol, and Daryl and Carol are much better than Negan and Maggie, in my opinion. But I don't know what the future holds. This month is Comic-Con, so we'll have to see what's in store for the future of the Walking Dead universe, other spinoffs, or nothing. We'll have to see. So thank you, Tim, Big Tree, Negan, John, Christy, Anissa, and everybody coming to join me and everybody joining as we speak. Thank you for taking the time to be here for a couple minutes or the full hour. If you're watching it on the replay, I truly appreciate it. If you celebrated 4th of July, what did you do? Were you safe? Did you have fireworks? Did you have a barbecue? Did you do nothing? I had the day off, and it's weird because it's a Thursday. So, what do you do with that day off? Because I can't go away because I got to work Friday. And I don't need to go shopping because I don't really need anything. So I'm like, John asks, did I watch Money in the Bank pay-per-view last night? I'm rewatching now. I watched parts of it. I watched the Sami Zayn match. I watched the women's Money in the Bank match. I watched John Cena come out and say the big news that it's there. And so that was kind of it. My wife was like laying down because she wasn't feeling good for a little bit. And I was like, what am I going to watch? Money in the Bank was on. And SummerSlam is in 4 weeks. So I believe it's August 3rd. So from 4 weeks from yesterday. So SummerSlam is something I always watch. I watch the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, and SummerSlam pretty much every year, especially since it's been on Peacock, and we'll have to see what happens next year with Raw going to Netflix and all that stuff. So we're about to see what goes down with that. So Anissa says today is Mo Collins' birthday. So happy birthday, Mo Collins, who played Sarah on Fear the Walking Dead. So are you watching The Boys? Does anybody watch The Boys in here? So I don't want to give anything away, but if you saw my one video about Butcher and Kessler, that we were correct in assuming what we assumed, and the theory that's going around is correct. But that being said, it just feels like a lackluster season where they're going to probably set up something really big in the last episode or the last couple episodes of this season, setting up the 5th and final season. I'm guessing next year is when we'll see that. But it just feels like it's trying to connect the dots to set up something bigger. And I like it, don't get me wrong, but it just feels like a in-between, not the same kind of season. And the same thing with The Bear. So are you guys watching The Bear? So for those who don't know, The Bear is a cooking show that's a fictional show in Chicago. And it's got a lot of pretty big-name actors that are in it, and some are minor parts and some come and go, and John Bernthal's in it, Shane from The Walking Dead. But it's one of those things where it feels off again too. Like it just feels something is not a good season. And, you know, I never really judged TV shows growing up, like especially because I just watched the TV shows that were, you know, TGIF and Saturday Morning and, you know, Friends and Seinfeld and this and that. And that was kind of what I watched. I never really judged seasons because I never really thought about seasons. But now that I'm older and I'm watching TV a little more regularly, and now the way streaming and stuff is, you can watch seasons and know which season this is and what it is and where it's at. It just kind of feels like it's nothing new, you know, that it's something that seasons can be off. Every show has ups and downs, and some are very small. Like Breaking Bad has one bad episode, the Fly episode, in my opinion. The Sopranos, very good series up to the ending. And Better Call Saul starts off slow but ends really good. And, you know, it's just kind of Sons of Anarchy has the weird season that they're in Ireland, so it kind of feels out of place. And Game of Thrones is really good until the ending. And it just feels like it's tough to get the stuff right from start to finish. And if you drag shows out longer and longer and longer, it's harder to have everything right too. So James says, hey, Bri, how are you doing? I was wondering if you ever watch NCIS, Criminal Minds, or The Flash. I've watched parts of episodes at NCIS. Never really watched Criminal Minds and never really watched The Flash. I watched The Flash movie, but not the TV series. James also says, Money in the Bank was awesome. WWE is so hot since Triple H took over. It's so hot right now. But it really is. Like I feel like Triple H is like the best successor to Vince McMahon. And I think so I always have respect and for people that have been in, I say the trenches. Like I'm a physical therapist, for example, right? And I treat patients. When people who don't treat patients, who are not physical therapists, tell a physical therapist or someone what to do, there's certain things where they have to like stay in their lane kind of thing. Now, if it's an administrative thing or a billing thing or something, that's fine. That's their department. So, okay. But it's tough for people that don't know how to do evaluations or treat people or do this and that to tell someone who does that. As a wrestler, Triple H knows firsthand what it was like to be an up-and-comer, then a wrestler, then a big star, and then, you know, upper management or higher management or whatever, you know. And now it's pretty awesome story. Like the Triple H story should be definitely a movie, a docuseries, a documentary or something if they don't have it already. But it's cool to see that too as well, to work your way up and to do that. Because that's what I always think we always have ingrained in us, at least in the 80s and 90s, where like you start, you get a job, you work your way up, you get a promotion, you learn the business, you figure it all out, you get a promotion, and next thing you know, you're pretty high up in the company. But I don't know if it's that way anymore, right? Like I have been a manager of a therapy clinic before, and then now I'm a manager of another clinic of a different company. And it's something that you're ever evolving and learning. And it's tough to be the manager. It's tough to be the boss. It's tough to be a director. It's tough to be anything because people see you in a different light sometimes too. And it's tough. But, you know, it's one of those things where if you work hard, you can achieve things in life. And it's true. And it's always a great story, especially, hard work, sacrifice, just putting the time in and it gets rewarded. And that's not always the case with every job. Like there's always those great stories about people that work at a McDonald's, learn the business, open up a franchise of their own, and then just make it run and own a couple businesses, up a couple franchises and stuff. And that's awesome, to work your way up, to start at nothing and to, finish. It's about the journey, not the destination, and working hard is one of those things too. So let me see. Jonathan Wilder, Q&A, are you watching the Drew and Punk? Not really. I mean, the Drew stuff and CM Punk stuff is just like, all right. I mean, I see has to be different stories and that and what they're going to do. And CM Punk is going to keep interrupting and causing problems for Drew. And it's going to be kind of what it is. And I get it, but, it's a little annoying. Christy, Doc, I heard on GMA this morning that John Cena has granted over 650 wishes to the Make-A-Wish Foundation, which is a record. Yeah, so I know he has a lot, and he loves being involved with that. And I'm glad there's people like that want to do that, because he's a big star, and Make-A-Wish is a great foundation. It's a great thing to have some joy for people who are going through health problems. And that's what it's all about. Moments of joy, moments of fun. Not everything's going to be great. Not everything's going to be bad. But remembering the good times and getting through the bad times and weathering the storms to get to those good times. Like, I'm not going to lie. This week hasn't been great. It was a frustrating week. It was a weird week. Friday sucked, the day after 4th of July with fireworks and everything. And it was tough. And it was annoying and frustrating, but I got through it. Now I'm here on Saturday and Sunday, having a nice weekend, talking to you great, fine folks, and it's just awesome. Back on Monday, back to work, save your money, make your money, rinse and repeat, invest your money, all those things, pay your bills, and try to have some fun, Diana, Q&A, does anyone else feel like The Boys is slow going this season? I totally agree, Diana. I think The Boys Season 4 is the slowest of all the seasons so far. It's been something that, it's like I said, it's an in-between season. It's a setup for the final season. So they don't want to give anything away. They're not going to kill off any major characters. They're not going to do anything crazy. Maybe for the final episode of this season going into the final season. But I totally agree that it just feels slow. And it may be by design. It may be by just circumstance. The same thing with Game of Thrones. House of the Dragon. The first 3 episodes have been lackluster. Slow going. Minimal anything. Now, episode 4 looks amazing. We look like we're going to get a big battle. The dragons are finally going to be involved. Like, it's called House of the Dragon, and we've seen minimal dragons in the first 3 episodes. The only thing that was really cool, a spoiler warning, is that we got to see the Daenerys eggs in last week's episode, which is cool because it connects in this call. Like, House of the Dragon, it's a spin-off for me of Game of Thrones. I don't read the books. I don't know if this book was first, and then it was this, and Song of Fire and Ice, and I don't know any of that stuff, and I don't care about any of this stuff. I'm not going to go read the books. I could care less. I'm going to watch the shows. It's going to be in front of me for this, and I'll see how it plays out on the screen. And I just want connections to the other shows that I want, that I ever watched. To, like, Better Call Saul was huge in connecting Breaking Bad. So it really, really, really worked. The Many Saints of Newark, that was the movie, the prequel movie of The Sopranos. It connected the dots, of course, obviously, with Tony Soprano and Paulie and Silvio and Dickie Moltisanti and Christopher and all this thing, all the stuff, and Uncle Junior, and it made sense and it connected with stuff. And it was okay. It was a lackluster story and whatever, but it connected the dots. Like, that's all I ask for, is connecting points with spin-offs, prequels, sequels, whatever, James asks, have I ever watched Evil on Paramount Plus? I heard it's very good. I have not watched Evil, but I heard it's good as well too. And he says, I'm looking into moving to Georgia near Sonoy. I'm a licensed optician in Ohio. No reciprocity in Georgia. Worth it to be closer to the walking locations and in-laws? Question mark. Well, that's up to you, Anissa. I'm not sure if that's the best thing because, I mean, it's really cool, don't get me wrong, to be really close to Sonoy. And there's a lot of great places. And my wife and I have looked into places, or I have at least looked into places, to look at, McDonough, or Warner Robins, or Macon, or Sonoy itself, and different cities in Georgia. But can you work? Can you find a job? Can you live there? Is it going to be better for taxes, value? Are you going to be able to sell your house in Ohio and get more for your money in Georgia, or about the same? Or, I always like the idea of finding like a hidden gem, like a little great place to live with, all the creature comforts. Like, I don't want to live in the middle of nowhere and have to drive an hour to the supermarket, which in Georgia, they do have Publix, which I recommend Publix because being a Florida resident now, Publix is awesome. But I don't want to drive so far to get someplace on there too. So it's something that it's up to you, but I think I like the idea of, I don't know if I would ever, I like the idea of moving to Georgia. I don't know if it'll ever happen. Maybe we just vacation there more and more and more, especially when we get older. But I think El Camino was really good, not too haunted. El Camino was a nice continuation of the Jesse story. That's all we could ask for, too. And I liked in Better Call Saul when we connected the dots with Jesse and Walter and, all the other characters that came around. Gus and everything, too. So ultimately, guys, we're watching also that 90s show. I never really watched that 70s show, but I know it was a big show. And, the 90s show continues that with Eric and Donna's daughter, Leia. And what makes the show for me is the grandparents, is Red and Kitty. And it's definitely the two, they just make it enjoyable. And Red is just hilarious. He reminds me of my father-in-law. And just, it's something that it's just cool. Like it just connects the dots and the nostalgia of previous shows and everything. And that's that's all you can ask for too. Like it feels like hopefully more and more universes or shows or whatever make sense. Like one of the best things that was done recently was Top Gun and Top Gun Maverick. So Top Gun is an 80s movie. Top Gun Maverick came out a couple years ago. So, it was obviously close to 40 years in between movies. And you didn't reinvent it. You didn't have a new Maverick. You had the same Maverick. You had the same actor. You connected things with the son of this character. It just made sense, and it made $1 bajillion, right? I think if they did that with Days of Thunder, I think it'd be really good as well, too. And I've been saying that for years. Like I would love to see that continuation, especially with all the people that are still alive. Like so many characters that are still alive, especially Cole Trickle, Tom Cruise, who just turned 62, or I want to say Tom Cruise just had a birthday this past week. I don't know how old he is, but he's making the Mission Impossibles movies, Mission Impossible 58 or whatever it is by now. I don't know what it is too. So yeah, Bob is back for the 90s show. He's pretty funny too, but it connects, Adrian, morning, Bri. How many seasons will there be of Dead City and Darlie Dixon? So it's Daryl Dixon, but Darlie Dixon. So I don't know. That's a good question because Dead City, I think Lauren Cohan would do Dead City forever because she's an executive producer and a director and stars in it. I don't know how. I don't want to see the show go on for nonsense. So yeah, Tom Cruise, 62. That's what I thought. Did I say that? I was close. 62, but thank you. But very good. I think Lauren Cohan would play Maggie Rhee forever. I don't know about Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and I don't know how. It would be so, we'll have to see how the second season plays out. Is it going to be the same annoying Negan, Maggie, what you did, I can't believe you, but then Negan saves your butt, and you're like, I still hate your guts, and I'm going to turn you in, or no, New Babylon Mart, what is going to be? And it could work. They could really work. But, I'm just saying worst case scenarios that the show sucks, the series sucks, it does not worth our time. But the first season was pretty good. Now, that being said, I think it needs to expand. It needs to get better and better and better and explore the lore of the Walking Dead universe and even bring in maybe another character or two. You don't have to bring everybody back. Don't bring everybody from the Commonwealth. But it would be really good to see Mercer or Princess or Jerry or Ezekiel or somebody. Like, it would be really cool. And I hope it happens. I don't really know many spoilers at all for Dead City Season 2, besides Kim Coates' character, like Bruegel or something his name is. And then the Dama and Croat and all that stuff too. But there's been no sightings or pictures of any characters coming back around like Dwight or Sherry or anybody, so I don't know. But as for Daryl Dixon, same thing. So Daryl, it was supposed to be the Daryl and Carol show. It was supposed to be 3 seasons of Daryl and Carol, and where were they going to go? A lot of people thought New Mexico. A lot of people thought this, a lot of people thought that, but then it turned into Daryl Dixon, the European Vacation, which is okay. The show was pretty good. The new characters made sense. The new characters were interesting. I think Daryl can make it for more seasons of the show, but how many seasons do we need to see Daryl in Europe and Daryl dealing with Jeanette or whatever her name is? The madam or whatever it is. It's just so like, what are we doing here? You know, I get it. We have to have villains. We have to have a problem. We have to have this. But is that guy going to be like the future of things? Is he immortal? Is he the chosen one? Is he a cure? Is he have antibodies? Does he have something? You know, I don't know. But you have to do something besides just have Daryl in Europe and now throw Carol in Europe. So we'll have to see who came back, what that entails. You know, Melissa McBride, I believe, said that it's not connected with Rick. So what does it mean? Daryl's in Europe. You can't just travel around real fast. Like, they're not yet in the Walking Dead universe where you can hop on a plane and just fly home. It's not going to be easy. And Daryl had the chance to get on a boat and get on a boat. I can't even talk. A boat last season, and he didn't do it. So they're going to supposedly film the 3rd and possibly 4th season in, Spain. So what about Alicia's return? There's no return for Alicia on The Walking Dead. Nobody even cares about those characters on The Walking Dead. They're Fear the Walking Dead characters. Fear the Walking Dead ended with Alicia, Madison, and I don't even know the kid's name, in the car driving back to California. So going further away. So Alicia doesn't make sense for that world there too. So, and I think they're done with all that. John, I did not hear Eminem's new song, Toby. I heard Houdini, but I didn't hear Toby. Toby, goodbye, Toby. Do you think Rick and Daryl will reunite? I hope so, Ashley. I really hope that Rick and Daryl. I hope that's the end, very end, the last part, sequence, event of the Walking Dead universe is Rick and Daryl reunited, and it feels so good. And then it says Finn. Done. Over. Kaput. And then they're like, you know what we want to do? Let's reboot the Walking Dead universe. No. So, I mean, because the Walking Dead universe had its story. It had its beginning, middle, end, another ending, and then another ending, and then are we going to get another end? Are we going to get another ending? I don't know. I just really hope that Gimple has a successful ending for it. What do you guys think it is? So I think the very end of the Walking Dead universe, after Dead City, after this, after that, whatever, the Daryl Dixon show, Daryl, Carol, they get home. Daryl, Carol, maybe even Dog. They get to the Commonwealth. They open the gate, and Rick is standing there. And Rick and Daryl hug, and they walk to, and they make a little like jokes about like, where you been, man? I looked all over for you. I got a lot to tell you. Done. That's it. So I don't know what the plan is for that. I don't know if Gimple has a plan or the executives at AMC and The Walking Dead, because AMC owns the rights. for The Walking Dead. So, Adrian, do you think Morgan will find Rick? I don't know. That's something that I could see not happening at all. And that's one of those things where it would be really annoying to not have Rick and Morgan. So the way they left it open on Fear the Walking Dead is that Morgan was going to go look for Rick. Right? Morgan and Mo left King County, left Georgia, and they were going to go to Virginia and hopefully find Rick. Will they find each other? Oh, no. So there you go. So we have Morgan and Rick open the door for Daryl and Carol. There you go. That's the ending. That's the true ending right there. Finn, write it down. If it happens, you heard it here first. 7/7/2024 at 1:27 p.m. But it doesn't matter if it happens or not because the ending is going to be what it is. More shows and series and all that stuff have terrible endings. Like, look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? It had the best ending possible for the story of Endgame. And they're still making movies. So Endgame is not the end game. It is the end game for Iron Man and end game for the characters who died. But the end game is not the end game at all. So 3:28 a.m. here, Monday. So yeah, it's 1:28 here on Sunday. So, but the idea is that you keep making comics. You keep making graphic novels. The next one, 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 the next one. It's never ending, never ending, never ending. Like, how many Spider-Man things have they been? How many Superman things have they been? Batman, X-Men, this, that, Uncanny X-Men, Amazing Spider-Man, X-Men, Age of Apocalypse, and all this other stuff. This character dies. Oh, they're brought back to life. Jean Grey, the Phoenix, like everything comes back around again. I don't know if you watched X-Men 97, spoiler warning, I don't know how they're going to bring back some of the characters that die there, like Gambit. But I hope they do, because, I love Gambit. Gambit and Rogue are some of the most important characters in in X-Men. The comic, or the cartoon especially. So, I mean, like, if you can replicate stuff like X-Men 97, maybe a Spider-Man cartoon, maybe whatever they're going to do, it's a home run. It's a home run. It's easy to say, hard to do, contracts, production, rights, who owns what on there too. So, right, exactly. Like Dragon says, like James Bond dying in the last film, but they still want more Bond films. So that's a little different because James Bond can always be a new person because I don't think any of these people are actually James Bond. James Bond is just a code name, a code person, in my opinion. So I don't know the lore of all that stuff, but I feel like that is just a cover of the people. Like, they go in, they lose all identity, they don't become who they were at all, and so that's the new James Bond. So, exactly. But, I like Daniel Craig, and I like, I'm not a huge James Bond fan, but I know people like it. But again, that's the same type of thing as Mission Impossible. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Mission Impossible, because that's a huge franchise as well, when Tom Cruise cannot make them anymore. And Tom Cruise, as we know, is 62 years old, still doing stunts, still doing crazy stuff. Like, how long can he do that? I hope he doesn't hurt himself again. I mean, he broke his ankle in one of the stunts in one of the recent movies. So hopefully they'll have stunt doubles or AI or CGI or whatever. But I'm like, we can't have Tom Cruise getting hurt now, Jonathan Wilder, Q&A, have you ever watched something knowing a spoiler but still was shocked about it anyway? Not really. Like, when you find out a spoiler and it comes true, I'm not shocked at all because that's what the spoiler. I'm kind of relieved almost because the spoiler was right. Like, remember when The Walking Dead in seasons 5 and 6 and 7, whatever, but season 6 and in the beginning of season 7 was a big, big, big deal. Like, remember that summer when season 6 ended and it went to black and we didn't know who died. We didn't know who picked, or who Negan picked, who was picked for the lineup. And then the production started. And then we saw this. And then we saw that. And we were like, okay, who is it? Well, I heard this, and I heard that, and I heard this, and I heard that. And then, like, production was still going for months and months and months, and we didn't see those two characters. So we were like, all right, it's probably these two. But then when we finally saw it, it was kind of a relief to know that Abraham was the choice and Glenn was the second choice, and this happened and all this there too. So, you know, with spoilers, it's always more of a relief than being shocked, in my opinion. Ashley, what show are you most excited for, Daryl season 2 or Dead City season 2? That's a good question. Probably Daryl season 2, because I like Daryl and Carol together. I mean, it's close. Like, both are... I'm not, like, super excited for either season because I just don't know what they're going to do. I don't know how it's going to connect. I don't know what the future of the shows hold. And I don't really care that we're going to get Negan being Negan again, like being old school Negan with Lucille and the leather jacket and this. Like, I don't care too much about that. But some people do. Some people love Negan and they want to see, you know, what he's doing and what's happening with that. But I would say Daryl, because Daryl and Carol. I think Daryl and Carol are two of the top 5 characters, in my opinion, in the Walking Dead universe, let alone especially alive. So, like, if you have Rick Michonne, Daryl, Carol, and Negan, right? Like, that's an easy top 5 characters. And so you had the Rick and Michonne show, done. Daryl and Carol, Carol's joining Daryl in there, and then Negan and Maggie. And so it's definitely something that I'm interested in both. Duncan, how about you, Ashley? Are you excited more for the Daryl show or Dead City? Or anybody? That's a good question for everybody. What are you guys more excited for? Daryl Dixon season 2 or Dead City season 2? So the big thing too is, like, it's summertime, it's hot, it's just crazy out there, and hopefully you're safe and sound. And, you know, it's right now with some overcast and some sun, it's 91 degrees here in Tampa. What are some of the temperatures where you guys are at now, too? Because you got to stay safe, you got to stay cool, stay hydrated. Don't be in that sun for too long, and wear sunscreen. You know, it's one of those things where you get sunburn. And, you know, I was going to do some yard work on 4th of July, but they had a heat index of like 103 or something. And I was like, I am not going to go do that on 4th of July to go, you know, do that too. So, and he says, does anyone even care anymore what happened to Heath? No, that's one of those things where, like, Heath is the new Morales type of thing. Adrian says, winter in Australia. Dragon says, had 105 on the 4th. So, yeah, and I don't think anyone cares about Heath anymore. Like, they've had multiple times to possibly show or explain or mention or talk about it. Like, the characters don't even care. No one from Alexandria or anyone ever said anything about Heath. Like, Tara didn't even bring him up in the season 7. That's how bad the writing was in season 7, where they didn't even care about the character at all. And you're like, that was the time to bring it up. And now they're like, what the heck? You know, then you have to find out. They're like, oh, Jadis traded him away, and Jadis had this, you know. I don't even know what they would have done if they didn't bring Jadis around. Look how involved Jadis was when she came around in season, it was 8, right? Season 7. It was season 7. And so look at all that, Chris. Season 7, season 8, and she was there, and she was involved with this, and then, like, she was involved with Negan, the CRM, World Beyond, and the Rick and Michonne show. So it was crazy that she was involved with so much. She's a nonsense character that was put in for the show. The CRM is just for the show. The show is the show. The comic is the comic. The story is the story. The spinoffs are the spinoffs. But Jadis was connected with some decent story. You know, for what it was. Like, it wasn't great story, but it was big time story for the character of Connect. So she was connected with Rick Michonne, Negan, Simon, Father Gabriel, the people from World Beyond, CRM. Like, she had one of the biggest connections, evidently Heath, her own people. Like, she had one of the biggest connections in the Walking Dead universe that was just thrown in there too. I think the actress did a good job overall for what the story was given, and and they killed her off. And so they wrapped that story up, and they wrapped up the CRM. So, like I said, I don't know if the future holds for the Walking Dead universe unless they bring in the new Babylon connections from the Northeast, the Dead City stuff, maybe the Daryl characters like Madame Jeanette and whatever. But I don't know if there's going to be something that's potentially out there for it. And they could bring up anybody they want. They could have new villains there too. They brought in the Reapers, and they brought in this, and they brought in that, and they brought in all this stuff too. They brought in the Garbage Pail Kids and the Reapers, and they brought in all this stuff that was just for the show. So they can always do it. The whole Daryl Dixon show is just for the show. The Dead City is just for the show. All this stuff is extra. So they could bring in whatever they wanted too. So it was definitely something that they can go down these tangents. So I don't know if they're ever going to explain Heath. I don't know if they're going to actually do anything with the PPP card. That just seems like it's a dead end. And I wouldn't mind another thing of Tales if they were good stories too. Like, put in some money. Put in some good writing. Don't just have Walking Dead in there too. So like when Fear the Walking Dead was done and was completed, or sorry, produced for the first season, it was trash. Second season, a little bit better, but still trash. Third season was the third season is how the series should have started. It would have been a better story in the season 3 with the ranch and that family and the autos instead of Madison and all that crap. It would have been better than following a survivalist family in the ranch of Arizona or Montana or I don't know, wherever they could have done anything. Like, they could do anything they wanted to. And they could have had that whole story go from there. But instead we had this whole dynamic of like the dysfunctional family and the mom and the stepdad and the this and the that and the broken family and substance abuse with this and the mom who has no emotions and the teacher and it's like, come on. It's just trash. And it was just The Walking Dead was in there. And so people were excited about it. I was excited about it. And it was just the weakest continuation of that there is. And they're like, we want to do our own thing. But then don't call it The Walking Dead. And less people watched that show during the series. The first episode probably had the most viewership that it ever had in the entire series. And, But overall, it just could have been better. Like, season 6 was probably the best season. And then season 4 and season this. And they've had their moments. But when they connected stuff, finally. But how much nonsense did we have to put up with before they connected things? Like bringing Morgan over. Bringing in some better story, better characters, better connections. Like, what the heck are we watching here? And then some people are like, I like the show. It was better than The Walking Dead. What show are you watching? In my opinion, what are you talking about, But some people just love to stir the pot and do that stuff too. And hey, man, go watch Fear the Walking Dead. I don't even know where you can watch it anymore, but I know you can watch The Walking Dead on Netflix. I don't know. Yeah, James, I watched Billions. No, I didn't watch Billions. I watched, what's that other one that's about the family? I'm blanking on the name, but I have not watched Billions. I want to, but I have not seen Billions. I heard it's really good. I watched it. I can't even remember the other movie, whatever show was on HBO. But, yeah, what else are we watching? So we're watching The Boys, which is like, okay. The Bear, it was okay. Cobra Kai starts very soon. I watched the trailer for that. It's going to be cheese again, but, just when they're like this group's going to fight the world next, and the Satai Kai Kai, or whatever they call it. Just so stupid, but the name is terrible for that. But ultimately, we'll have to see. Interesting. It's got the cheese. It's got the super cheese factor to Cobra Kai, but it connects with Karate Kid and all that too. And we'll have to see what other cameos and whatever they bring in. And it's always kind of cool when you see that too. So that's coming up. The show Receiver starts on Wednesday. If you watched on Netflix, if you like the NFL and football, there was the series they're called Quarterback. And now it's called Receiver. So they're following receivers and George Kittle, who's a tight end, but either way, it's a receiver. Or it gets paid like a receiver or whatever on there too. But either way, it's a receiver. That starts on Wednesday for Netflix. Tulsa King comes back in September, I believe. From comes back this fall. Umbrella Academy comes back in a month. August 8th, I believe, for the final season of that. So yeah, there's like it's the summer before. Like I don't know how old you guys are. Some are older than me, some are younger than me, but yeah, I hope 1923 season 2 is much better than the first season because the first season was really lackluster. But again, it felt like more of a setup for future story there too. But so like in the summer, traditionally there was not much on television. Right? Because people went on vacations, they went away, they came here, they did this, they did that. And now there's a ton of stuff that comes out for the summer. Ton of shows, ton of movies. Like the big deal was the 4th of July movie. What was the 4th of July movie? That was it. That was like the big movie that you wanted to go see, or the big studio movies that were coming out in July, because my school in the Northeast in New Jersey went from September to June. Some schools in Florida go from August to May, but we were after Labor Day to start, and so it was good because you'd finish in June, kind of do this, that, get settled, go to the movies, go try anything to get out of the heat, right? The air conditioning. Go to the mall, the movies, bowling, something indoors. We went to the shore and did all that stuff and had fun there or whatever. I had to go to camp and whatever, but traditionally the summer was not for shows. Maybe if you caught it on a replay or you caught it there too. I remember NBC's marketing was, if you haven't seen it, it's new to you. And that was probably in the summer, I'm guessing, because they would replay the previous season of Seinfeld or whatever show. So Dragon says, Silo season 2, please. Yeah, I don't know. I believe that finished filming is the word. I don't know when that's going to be out. But Silo season 2, I want to see what happens there. That's definitely something where I'm very curious. Just like I'm very curious what is going to happen with that as well. Jen Hack says, what the hell was the World Beyond series? Are you going to connect up with France, scientists, cures, and Daryl? I hope so. Like, I hope Daryl eventually gets to the French CDC and we get to see that happen. So, like, that's cool. That's a connecting point. That's something I want to see. I want to see these things. Like, Daryl going on a European vacation reminds me of, National Lampoon's Vacation, where they went to the European one, which was by far the dumbest of those movies and the worst one of those movies. But the fact is that Daryl, it's just a joke because it's European vacation and Daryl goes to Europe. So I hope that there's connections with it. We saw that post-credit scene. Could we find out more about the Violet team, Primrose team, this team, that team, some sort of thing? I hope so. And I think that makes sense too. Where do we see Anise? Anise asks, did you see the bike riders? We watched them film some of it. Norman's scene was filmed in Ludlow, Kentucky, and we watched them film and met the director. Very cool. So I have not seen Bike Riders. Well, so I saw Norman Reedus on Jimmy, was it Kimmel or Fallon? I don't know. Jimmy Kimmel or Fallon, whatever the night show was. And he was talking about that. And he filmed this scene, and he has these really messed up teeth. And the guy who played Elvis, I'm blanking on the other guy who's in Venom. They're in it, and it's supposed to be about these bike riders and stuff, or these this motorcycle group, and some story on there too. But I know that Norman Reedus was filming there. Tom Hardy, thank you, Jeannie. I was blanking on that. Tom Hardy. So it was Tom Hardy, Elvis, and Daryl Dixon all together. And he said that he had he talks about this scene where he has to ride down on a hill on a motorcycle. He puts these like red glasses on, these messed up teeth. He can't really see right, and they call for action. He's riding down this hill. It's a motorcycle that he didn't really know how to ride, or something with the brake or something wasn't right. He's trying to hit his marks. He's trying to do all this stuff too, but somehow he got through it, and it was really funny. And so I definitely would check out that movie. I don't know if I'll watch it until streaming, but Norman is, the classic motorcycle guy. He just feels like he should be on a motorcycle now. Not just because of Daryl, but he just feels that way with Daryl Dixon, with Ride with Norman Reedus, with potentially Ghost Rider. I don't know if they're ever going to do that with him, but that'd be kind of cool, and I think it would do really well. So that'll be another Walking Dead character, or Walking Dead actor in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, if that ever happens. That's been a big prediction, I don't know, hypothesis, theory, spoiler, if you will, that he's going to play, Ghost Rider. But it was kind of cool to see, how they did stuff, and it was just cool. I always like little stories and little tales about, filming and production and how stuff happens, because we get to see the final thing on screen, whether it's a big screen or at home. And it's always cool to hear the little nuances of like this take or that take or this thing or that, or how it was, or someone got hurt when they filmed it, or this happened, or something, it was dangerous or it wasn't, It's just pretty cool. So I don't know. I'll definitely check out Bike Riders, like I said, when it's streaming. And nowadays, are you guys going to go watch Deadpool and Wolverine on the 25th? Or 26th or 27th or whatever. But I know my wife and I, that would probably be the first movie that my wife and I go to the movies to go see in a long, long time. The last movie we were going to see was A Quiet Place 2 at the start of COVID in 2020. We bought our tickets to go to the Regal movie theater by our house, and that's when the world shut down. Literally that week, we were going to see that Saturday. And it forever changed the world. And it was crazy because we bought tickets. We probably never got our money back for our gift cards, but that's all right. But I think Deadpool will be our first movie that we'll see in the movie theater in, I'm guessing, over 4 years. Because, nobody was going to the movie theaters during COVID. And then COVID ended. And people were going back to the movie theaters, but then more and more stuff was coming out on streaming. Like, if you just waited 2, 3, 4 weeks, it was going to be available at home. If you waited 5, 6, 7 weeks, whatever, it was going to be on some streaming service, if not sooner. So many things happened and on a streaming platform right away, because I don't know how the movie theaters are surviving, but do you guys still go to the movies? Do you guys check out movies? I mean, I know Top Gun Maverick did $1 bajillion in the movie theater, and Oppenheimer and Barbie and whatever, so many things were there, but so many movies have come out and they haven't made much money, like Dune Part 2 or whatever. I don't know how much money that made. I know the most recent movie that's number 1 at the box office is Inside Out 2. Because families take kids to the movies. I can only imagine if you had kids, you're like, we got to get out of this house. We got to get in the car, go somewhere for a couple hours, and make sure they are occupied and safe, and make sure we're just watching a movie in the air condition or something. Go to the mall or go bowling or go something like that too. And, a movie is where it's at too, so. Dragon Ball Radiant said, I just saw A Quiet Place Day 1. It was pretty good. It made me teary-eyed. So, Quiet Place Day 1. That looks good. Definitely want to check that out. Again, I'll probably just wait for streaming. And but I want to check out to see what happens there too. So, Dragon says, Cinema Now pushes the $30 a month unlimited tickets. Friend spends all of his time just sitting there watching what. Well, I'm sure. If I spent $30 for the month, I'm going to get my fill. So I'm going to go watch. So if a movie costs $10 a ticket and I paid $30, I'm going to watch at least 3 movies a month to get my money's worth. And so I would go watch A Quiet Place or Inside Out 2 or whatever they have going on there too, because you gotta get your money's worth. I'm all about that too, so I understand that for sure. Yeah, I want to see. I mean, I want to see it too. Bike Riders looks pretty good though, and of course, I like to support Norman, whatever he does, and he's, like I said, he's another good actor that I feel is really good too. Like when I see John Bernthal in whatever, he's always going to be Shane, but he's always going to be a guy that I like. I think he's a regular guy. You know, I like regular people that are just being genuine or whatever. Like I know they're acting. Like I know when John Bernthal was a police officer, he's not an actual police officer. He's fighting the fires in that one movie, and he's doing this, he's doing that, and whatever. Like he's not actually doing that, and he whatever. But I feel like he is a person that I like, and like same thing with like Jeffrey Dean Morgan or Michael Rucker, or they just feel like I like that guy. And it's just, there's certain people, I like that girl, I like her. I just feel like that too. And some people I don't like, but, and I always support that as best I can too. Jonathan Wilder, Q&A, let me see. Who do you think John Cena's last match is going to be? I don't know. That's a good point. I don't know what they're going to build up for WrestleMania, because I'm guessing, it's next April in Las Vegas is definitely going to be his last match, is the word. I don't know who's going to come back or what their plan is for that, but they're already building up the last match of John Cena, the last thing of John Cena. If you want to see John Cena, don't miss WrestleMania. And they're going to be building that up all year long. And John Cena, he's been in the wrestling ring for a long time, so he's got to protect himself. And yeah, he's in shape and he's a big guy, but he's had injuries before. And so if you're going to wrestle from July to April next year, I mean, it's less than a year, but still many months go into it. So hopefully he's going to set something up. But I don't know who on the current roster would be a good matchup for him. Maybe they bring somebody back for it. Would it really be John Cena versus The Rock? Like, would we do that? That would be really cool. I think it would do really well. But again, they're relying on John Cena and The Rock to do that, to push the matches for that. But maybe AJ Styles or something. I don't know. What do you think, John? Who do you think John Cena's last match should be or will be, too? Jen says, projectors are great for family movie night and camping. Tech now is awesome. Yeah, so projectors are awesome. I had a projector in PT school, and they've come a long way. Like, my projector is so old, I think it's 720p. Like, it's not even 1080. So the pixel rate is so middle of the road, but I like a projector because of the size. And, eventually one day you'll be able to have a TV on like so much of your wall. And a projector is the way to go, but you got to have the cable, the setup, this and that. Inside a house can be a little tricky. Outside, as long as you have power and speakers, you can set it up there, an inflatable thing or a screen with a line, and it's pretty cool. It's definitely a cool thing, but you're right. It's a nice way to have a movie night with the family too. So, but other than that, guys, we're in July. Half the year is over, and I got stuff coming up next month for work. And then September is Labor Day. And then October, my dad's going to come here for his birthday. My dad will be 75 this year, so it's a big birthday. November, we're going to go on a little vacation. December is, my birthday and holidays. So it's always cool to just think about the future, I always like to think, Sal, what's the next week, next month, next couple months, whatever. And my wife and I have a little vacation and this, and it's always cool to plan stuff, because what's next? Like TV shows or comics or books or, movies or whatever too. So Tim says the years are flying by. They always do. I see a lot of patients. I'm a physical therapist, for those who don't know. And I see a lot of retirees. I work in Florida, and I see a lot of, people that are 60s, 70s, 80s, some 90s. And I always like to talk to them about retirement and everything, and they just say, like, yeah, the time goes by. Well, it doesn't go by any faster. The time doesn't speed up as you get older. The time's the same. It's the same 24 hours in a day. It just takes you longer to do things. It takes you longer to wake up, or get up or get out of bed or go to the bathroom or cook, clean, do your chores, whatever. And then you're always doing something, whether it's a doctor's appointment or a procedure or a test or a scan or a this or a that, or, you got friends coming over, you got family, you got birthdays, you got anniversaries, you got, graduations, you got that, if you have a big family or not. There's always something going on, and it's the same amount of time, but we see it differently. When you're young, you have all the time in the world. Enjoy it. Live it up. Do this. When you're older, you have limited time. You feel that you have limited time. But that's inevitable. Like, we have the same amount of time each day, but what do we do with that time? Enjoy it. Enjoy the most you can. Perception is reality. If you enjoy your life every day, even when bad stuff happens, because it's going to happen. And I have to do this on a daily basis too. Like I told you, last week was a frustrating week. It was weird because of the holiday. I couldn't go to the gym on Thursday because it was closed because of the holiday. I had to work on Friday. I didn't really want to be there. I didn't want to do this. What's up, Zenith? And it was just one of those things that I was like so frustrated, but I got through it. Might have been the moon or the stars, the alignment, or whatever. Maybe it was the fireworks that people were shooting off at 11 o'clock at night. I didn't sleep well, and it was just what it was. But we got through it. We move on, to just go and do it all over again. And that's the beauty of life, is you can go do as many things as you can, save up your money, enjoy your friends, enjoy your family, spend time with the people that make sense, to be around. And enjoy it, Yeah. Tim says, I'll agree, Bright, not a spring chicken anymore. Well, hey, at least we're still a chicken, and at least we can get around still, We got a couple more days left to enjoy our times. And, it's right. Like, so if you think about it, we all want to live as long as we can, but also as functional as we can, as healthy as we can, with great abilities on there as well. Like, I don't want to go live to be 105. Unless I'm with it, unless I can get up, unless I can do those things, unless, with my wife or my family or my friends or my whatever who's still around. But average statistically, so, I always tell my patients too, I was like, do you know what the average ages for a man and woman in the United States are? And no one ever knows. And I tell them, it was 78 years old for a man in the United States, average age, average lifespan. Before COVID, I think it's less than that too, but I just go by that. So I see 78. So on average, a man in the United States will live for 78 years and then die. So you have 78 years to live it up, enjoy it, have fun, be with your friends, family, have a great time. Now, people are above average and below average. That's why there's an average. So when I see a person who's 82 years old, I tell them they are above average. You're doing great. You can walk, you can do this. You drove to PT. Now, a woman in the United States is 80 years old. So they're a little bit older. Traditionally, I see a lot of women in their 70s, 80s, and 90s. If I'm ever going to see anyone in their 70s, 80s, or 90s, most of the time it's women. Not all the time, but majority of it are women that outlive men. And this probably genetics or this or that or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, we can only do what we're given. I don't know how long I'm going to live, and none of us do. But enjoy it. Enjoy today. Do what you want to live. Tell your friends that you miss them or you love them or you appreciate them. Call your friends. Text your friends. Email them. Get in touch with them somehow, because you may miss out. You don't want to look back at your life and be like, man, I wish and I hope my friends, my family, my sister, my brother, my cousin, my aunt, my uncle, whoever that means to you, that is meaningful to you and in your life, feels that way. And it's just something that I read, the 5 regrets of the dying, and it's just an eye-opening experience. And, it's something that people don't want to talk about and whatever, but it's something that we should, because it's not something that may happen. It's something that will, eventually our time is up. So let's enjoy it. Let's have fun. You only live once, they say, but enjoy it nonetheless, whatever you believe in. Stay safe and have all those good times And remember, it's all about experiences. You're going to look back at your life and be like, man, that was fun. I remember that trip or that time. Remember that thing? But remember when that guy did that? Or remember we did this? Or remember the car? Remember the boat? Remember this? It's awesome. You know, you can do it. Have fun. Enjoy it. Have a good time. There you go, guys. That's my time. Enjoy your Sunday. If you're going to watch House of the Dragon tonight, I watch it on Mondays because it's a little late from 9 to 10. And, you know, we watch it on Mondays during the next day on streaming. And so we'll be watching that. And then we're also watching preseason, which, it's off season with the New York Giants. Preseason is with the Bears, and then in season is with the AFC East. So that'll be pretty awesome. So thank you guys for being here. I will be back next Sunday to talk about the Walking Dead universe and other shows and movies and all that stuff. Let me know your thoughts. Post your comments below. We truly appreciate all love and support. And remember, guys, with hard work, dedication, belief, and sacrifice, you can truly achieve things in life no matter what they are. Keep working hard and keep doing it. Thank you, guys. I'll see you next week. See ya.